sophomore, actually, Luke Nickel.
There we go.
And this one's interesting. He did win the overall player of the week. School record, 457 yards, 5 touchdowns. But here's why I like his performance. We've seen West Forsyth play. They just shut down Lambert.
10-0.
What's the strength of that team? It is their linebackers. So they probably knew going into it, this is going to be tough to run. We're going to have to attack them with the pass. They relied on Luke, and just a historic performance, big time. And Milton in region play is a different animal.
Hey, they are 31 straight.
Yeah, that's crazy. So big time performance by Luke Nickel.
As always, Coach Reeves got that team playing high. Another one of those teams just, flying under the radar. Nobody's talking about them. Except for that, that loss to North Cobb. They've kind of, flown under the radar since then. They've rattled off 3 consecutive victories in the region. They got Denmark this weekend, a home game, and they got one more to end. That could be a pretty interesting game next week. We seen last year, this was the region championship between them and Lambert. That will be a home game this year. I don't think we've been to Milton so far. So that will be interesting. But shout out Luke Nickel, man. Miami commit. Got to see him up close and personal, and I was really impressed with just the steps he took forward. From kind of seeing him preseason and then seeing him in the season. And as I told you, Craig, we talked about this numerous of times off the air. I said that, obviously a lot of people don't talk about Milton in 7A region standings, but I talked about just their offense getting on track, right? And I said up until that point, they played some teams tough. They got a couple losses on there, but it hadn't clicked up until that point. But it finally had clicked in that Roswell game, and it got going and had produced their second or their highest scoring output in that game. So they really got rolling, and now you're starting to see the culmination. And it's almost like with football, obviously you want to win games, but you don't want to play your best football early on. And I know that's probably doesn't sound like the best thing to say, but you really want to get going later in the season, right? The big region games, if you're in college, the late conference games, going into the college football playoff, and NFL, that December, January window when you're about to hit the postseason, you're hitting those last critical games. Like, that's when you want to be playing your best football. And it seems like Milton, they finally got that offense going. We've seen what the defense can do against most teams, especially that defensive line that can kind of, shut teams down. And then that really elite secondary they got. So, I mean, they're playing some good football, and Luke Nickel